Hi. Can you all hear me? Good, good. It's good to be here. I was actually here when I was a little kid, 2 years old, living in Lübeck for 5 years. And even to this day, I can understand German a little bit, but I can't speak hardly a single word, so I have to give the speech in English. I'm sorry about that. Playfulness, spontaneity, what a wonderful theme for a conference like this. I think that spontaneity and playfulness is really one of the roots of our profession, and what design is all about is these kind of unexpected creative breakthroughs that we always strive for. Before I begin, I would really like to know how many of you are graphic designers? Oh yeah. How about industrial designers? There's hardly any here. How many of you work for the advertising industry? And finally, how many of you are students? Good. A lot of students. Oops. I grew up in the 40s and 50s. I'm almost 65 years old now. And I grew up playing around in nature. I was living in Australia at the time, and I remember swimming in rivers and coming across poisonous snakes that can kill you, and redback spiders that can bite you, and the blood goes up to your heart, and you can die. And it was wonderful playing around in that kind of a nature, actually, with all the danger and everything else as well. And I especially remember one incident that happened to me that I have never forgotten. It's one of the most playful incidents that I have ever lived through. I was walking over a hill, and as I came over the hill and I looked down into the valley below, then I saw what must have been 10,000 rabbits. It was incredible, like thousands and thousands of rabbits, and they were all playing around in a kind of a tribal frenzy. And then suddenly they got a whiff of me. They suddenly realized that there's something up there on top of the hill, and they all disappeared in about 3 seconds, 2 seconds. They were all gone into their holes. I never forget that for some reason. That was the most playful thing I've ever seen. And I grew up in this kind of a natural environment, and that, I think, made me into a kind of an optimist. I feel optimistic about just about everything. And I must admit that I have a hard time understanding the cynicism of many people these days who grew up in the electronic environment. But lately, maybe it's because I'm getting a little too old and too close to death, I'm not sure. But lately, I must admit, I feel a kind of a dark feeling that's creeping over me. I have a feeling that right now this human experiment on planet Earth is hitting the wall in many, many ways. I think that ecologically speaking, we are hitting the wall now. Nature is dying, wilderness is dying, ecosystems are dying, species are disappearing every day. You know, I meet a lot of German people who come over to British Columbia just to see a little bit of wilderness, just to see a little bit of some totally undesigned space, a space where human being has had no influence whatsoever. And they come there, I think, because in this kind of a totally undesigned space, it's possible to have some kind of a profound, sometimes even a mystical experience. But now that You know, you really have to look to find any kind of a wilderness these days. And one of my great heroes, a man called E.O. Wilson, he's telling us that that we are now living through the sixth biggest mass extinction in human history. And then to complicate matters even more, I think that we're hitting the wall psychologically. So there is some studies that show that there has been a 300% increase in mood disorders, anxiety attacks, and depressions over the last 2 generations. That is quite incredible to see this mental sickness, you know, going up almost exponentially in 2 generations, 300%. And the World Health Organization study is predicting that by the year 2020, mental disease will be bigger than heart disease. And I think that this is a very dangerous thing, because we're losing our clarity of mind. And maybe if we lose enough clarity of mind, then it will be impossible for us to solve some of those terrible ecological problems that we have to face now, like climate change and peak oil. And then, to make matters even worse, we're hitting the wall politically. We're caught in this never-ending war against terror. And one of the root causes of this war against terror is this incredible difference between the rich and poor people of the world, where the rich 1 billion people, and that of course includes us and Canadians and Americans and Japanese and so on, 1 billion of us, 1 billion, 20% of the world's population, 1 billion people, we consume 85% of all the goods in the global marketplace. So what does that leave for the rest of the 5 billion people on the planet? Well, it leaves them with a lousy 15% of the global pie. And then we wonder why they hate us so much, and why there are some barbarians at the gate now, and why we have to fight this never-ending war against terror. So I think that we designers, we have to ask ourselves, how do we fit into this world that is hitting the wall on the ecological, the psychological, and the political fronts? You know, where do we fit in? Well, I think that that we designers are incredibly powerful people. I think that very few of us see ourselves that way, but I think we are very powerful people. We are if you think about it, we are the people who make the trends, and we create the fashions. We are the cool makers and the cool breakers. We are the people who create the look of a magazine. We are the people who create the feeling and the tone of television, or the give and take of the internet. So in the sense of Marshall McLuhan, we designers, we are the creators of the medium rather than the message. We are the people who have some control over the medium. We are the medium of the message. We are the creators of meaning. And I think that more than any other profession, I think that we have the power to change the world.